are going to see the some important questions. Practice bits we are seeing. See, first one, biology practice bits. From the following, identify the correct sequence in the making of paper. So in making of paper, generally we use plants. So 17 large trees are used to prepare 1 ton of paper. Generally this question is taken from the 8th class biology textbook from the different ecosystems. So instead of burning the paper, if we recycle, we can save the trees. So that instead of deforestation, afforestation, whereas instead of burning of paper, if we can recycle the paper, again we can make use of this. So that this question is from the recycling of paper. From the 8th class biology, this question has been taken. First one is how paper can be recycled. The main intention of this question is how paper can be recycled, or what are the different steps involved in process of making the paper or in recycling the paper. See here, there are some steps: chipping, spreading the pulp, making wood. Okay, chipping, spreading the pulp, making wood pulp, pressing, cutting. This is one option. Whereas cutting, making the wood pulp, spreading the pulp, chipping, pressing. This is one option. Chipping, making wood pulp, cutting, spreading the pulp, pressing. And fourth option is chipping, making the wood pulp, spreading the pulp, pressing and cutting. Suppose if you can see here, the answer is fourth one. Why? Because chipping, first one is chipping means here the paper is breaking into pieces. So it should divide into pieces. The plant, so plant is, the wood is breaking into pieces, that is called chipping. The first one is chipping. Second one is making wood pulp. Wood pulp. So we should prepare the wood into a pulp. Okay. So the solid wood should turn into liquid pulp. Then after, spreading the pulp on a plate. So the pulp should be spreaded on the plate and it should be dried in the presence of sunlight. Then after, pressing. If there is any water remain, that should be pressed one by కదా ఒక ప్లేట్ పైన ఈ వుడ్ పల్ప్ అంతా ఆరేసిన తర్వాత దాంట్లో ఇంకేమైనా వాటర్ ఉంటే బయటకు పోయేటట్టు దాన్ని ఏం చేయాలి, ప్రెస్ చేయాలి. సో ప్రెస్సింగ్, బై ప్రెస్సింగ్ వీ కెన్ రిమూవ్ ద వాటర్ పర్సంటేజ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద వుడ్ పల్ప్. అండ్ దెన్ ఆఫ్టర్ that should be cutting into paper into particular size. So here chipping, making wood pulp. Chipping means cutting the wood, making the wood pulp. So wood is should turn into pulp, solid wood should turn into pulp. Then after, spreading the pulp on a plate, and by pressing we can remove the water and then cut the paper into a particular shape. So this is the correct answer. The next one, identify the cell organelles in which cellular respiration takes place from the following. So cellular respiration, we know that cellular respiration which can be involved in the aerobic respiration, that means which can release the energy in our body. In cellular respiration, generally the food and oxygen transport to the mitochondria. Generally the food and oxygen can be transported to the mitochondria, and this food and oxygen oxidized in the presence of mitochondria and produce the energy. That's why mitochondria is called as powerhouses of the cell. It is also considered as powerhouses of the cell. So here answer is identify the cell organelle which cellular respiration takes place. Answer is mitochondria. Cellular respiration takes place in the mitochondria. Then identify the gland that secretes the glucagon. See here, glucagon is it is a hormone. Insulin, glucagon both are secreted from the pancreas. Generally pancreas is a mixed gland of the body. Pancreas secretes the insulin, and whereas glucagon, both the different types of hormones are produced. Generally insulin controls the glucose levels or sugar levels in the blood. So like that, the excess of glucose levels or sugar levels in the blood can be converted into glycogen by the insulin hormone. Whereas glucagon, whenever there is the lack of glucose or sugars in our body, again this glycogen can be converted into glucose by glucagon hormone. So glucagon hormone, again the glycogen can be converted into glucose to produce the sufficient energy for our body by the glucagon hormone. Sometimes we should not take the food during the willful starvation. If we do not take the food, even though we have to do some works, so for this purpose, to do the work we need energy. That energy is coming from the glycogen is converted into glucose by the hormone is glucagon. So this is about glucagon. So glucagon is produced by the pancreas. Generally liver produce the bile. Bile, it is one of the juice from the liver. So bile, it doesn't have any enzyme for the digestion. Next, kidney, it is a excretory organ. Lungs are the respiratory organ. So correct answer is pancreas. Identify the gland that secretes the glucagon from the following means here pancreas. Then identify the correct sentence regarding the transpiration. And transpiration means the excess of water in the plants is evaporated in the form of water vapor through the stomata is called transpiration. See here, transpiration of water in between the plants, whereas transportation of water from the roots to shoots, transportation of water from the soil to plants. So in all the cases, here is the transportation, here is the transportation, here is the transportation. But only the releasing of excess of water into the atmosphere through the stomata. So this is the answer. That means the excess of water in the plants is evaporated in the form of water vapor through the stomata is called transpiration. This transpiration occurs majorly through the stomata of the cells which are present in the leaves. So these are the 4 questions. So in the remaining questions will be discussed in the coming classes. So please subscribe and promote the channel. Thank you.